cutting-edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul's awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. Welcome back to another Warriors of Wellness, you divine lions and lionesses. I'm your host, Brad Wozny, joined once again by faith-based wellness leader Jennifer Allen as we discuss revelations from Christ. Let me ask you, what if some of humanity's greatest inventions downloaded from our creator? LifeWave's founder, David Schmidt, has 250 patents issued or pending. He still attends Bible study nightly and says the revelation behind the X₂O water technology was so divine, Jesus Christ belonged as a sole name on the patent. We're looking at X39, X₂49, X₂O frequency-based healing, which is the medicine of the future, as Einstein said, the God code and unleashing it in your body. We'll discuss and explore the extraordinary biblical story, now the inspiration behind Mikki Willis's code of creation for David Schmidt. And finally, are these modern frequency technologies revealing ancient truths Christ prophesied about long ago. We look forward to seeing you in the live chat. Share this with spiritually awake patriots everywhere on the planet. We'll see you soon. All right, you divine lions, lionesses, it is an amazing time to be alive with the disclosure. And I've got Jennifer Allen backstage. You'll meet her once again in a moment. It's been 4 or 5 times she's been on the show. And literally a warrior of light, the divine feminine, the type of grandma, warrior, granny that we like to promote and put out there, because this is what it means to stand up for truth, for light, and for love in the universe. And the great omnipresence of divinity, God, God, is one of those who said, Brad, whispered in my ear a little over 4.5 years ago and said, you need to do a show after the Freedom Convoy, hence our ethos, love, levity, and liberty. So we hear the clarion call. We're all called at a certain point in time to stand up, to speak out, to do something as a peaceful, sovereign warrior of light, part of this family of light. I'm going to play for you, if this is the first time, play for you the brief introduction from David Schmidt, so you get to hear it in his own words, how this is America's most prolific living inventor of our time right now on the planet. And people have equated him, including myself, as a modern day Tesla. And in a recent show Michael, Jaco, and I just completed, we said, you know what? He is literally the man who came from Christ. We both believe that, to impart this energy and this technology upon the world, not just for the last 20 years the company's been around, 21 years, but for the next 200 going forward. And that's part of the roadmap in the company that sets it decades in the future with multiple products in development to literally take us back to the Star Trek age and a tier 1 spacefaring, peaceful civilization. Here is David in his mission in his own words, and I'll be right back with Jennifer Allen. Look at this.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There is more information there than most people would ever realize. I was 8 years old, and my parents wanted to take me to the workshop of Thomas Edison. On the drive back home, I said to my dad, I want to be an inventor. Light, as it turns out, is the primary control mechanism for everything else that happens in the body. What if we could have an external electromagnetic field that would essentially reset the stem cells that are already in our bodies and get them to function like younger, healthier cells? What if in the process, we actually found out that in a book that was written thousands of years ago, that information already existed? God has left his fingerprint in natural design, and that blueprint shows up in nature. The mathematical codes are identical. The implications to this are absolutely extraordinary. What drives me is that there's this enormous sense of hope that we can create technology to generate clean energy, that we can have foods that aren't genetically modified, and we can meet all of the needs on the planet that we have to, and that we can heal people.
Level weapon that ends all wars. Michael Jaco and I doing a show together, and I'm here. Michael Jaco's here thanks to this woman on the screen, Jen Allen, an incredible, divine, feminine warrior of light. Jen, welcome back. Thank you for being here again. Appreciate it.
For inviting me. I'm honored. Truly honored. Your beginning. It's just beautiful with David and everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for bringing him into our lives.
I knew you were.
Right? Exactly. So, I mean, I can't do your background, your bio justice. I just find it fascinating that here you are at this stage of life when people are retiring and they're closing up shop. That's it. Hit the links, hit the golf course, or go knitting for their 8 grandchildren, which you have, 4 of your own, 4 from another marriage. You are running your own Skin Wisdom. We've done shows with Heavy Scaff, as well as CEO of your company. And then also you're a director here in LifeWave, and you're taking care of all of us and the team, because teamwork makes this dream work. But you come from a 100% faith-based background, and you have a tremendous experience for decades in hospice and working for Christ, as well as your own sisters as well. Literally, one of them a nun still, which is incredible. Just give everybody, just give us a little bit of a background and synopsis of Jennifer Allen and why she's here in front of us today, and being a promoter for sharing the light, of which we just heard from David, these patches and his technologies are.
So actually, I'll share. Some of you know, some don't, but I'm from my ancestors were from a religious experiment, Oneida community, which was a utopian community in 1840s to 1860s. And they had this theory of perfectionism. And that it was, by the way, I studied cults because it was a cult too, but it wasn't a bad, but it was its own way. But it created Oneida silverware, sterling silver, throughout the world. And so my grandparents, great-grandparents, all of them joined as families. And then my father was born in it. I was born in Oneida, New York, right there too. And so I have a drive, a business drive, but I think I was born with that energy because the president of Oneida Silver said, Pete Noyes, my father was vice president, he said, my nickname was Ginger. So Ginger, you're going to be president of Oneida Silver someday. And I go, pfft. But from he did say that. And from very young age, I was great at selling cookies, Girl Scouts, whatever, right? And then advanced forward to 10th grade in high school, and there was a competition to get a stereo, and nobody owns stereo. I mean, I'll be 79 this year in one more month, so October. Amazing. So it's way back there, and so they had a competition to win this stereo and a record player. It was a record. There's a stereo record. And these high school boys, the seniors, were going, that's mine, that's mine. I go, no, it isn't. It's mine. And I had no idea why I said that. But I went and I sold every box of candy I could throughout the community. But I also walked into Oneida Silverware, the executive suites, and sold to everybody there. And then the week before the end of the sale, I went back to the high school and said, are there any boxes left? Yeah, we got all these. Okay, I took them all. And I walked back to every house that I had sold to and said, don't you need a second box now? It's been 2 weeks. And they bought them. And I won the stereo. Much to the chagrin of the boys. But so I think I was competitive from a very young age.
Heck yeah.
And I used to play drums in the band. So these boys were competing with me in the band because they all wanted to play drums. But anyway, so advance forward, I got married out of college and ended up opening up bookstores, which I won't go into all of it. But again, entrepreneur, and I wasn't afraid to go to banks, and I borrowed. And for the LifeWave stuff, I see people that don't have to invest anything. They just have to buy some patches and wear them and show people they work, right? Me, I walked in, borrowed 150 grand and said to the banker, we're going to do it. And we did, and we made more than they thought. And so they were happy. And so it's like having no fear. And I don't know, because I was not praying to God at that time. I prayed, I went to church, but I didn't have that direct line I have now, that I think I have anyway. But I just followed my intuition, and I was guided. And I think when I was in college, I was an agnostic for 4 years. And then I had some horrible things happen in my marriage, and I ended up going to church, and boom, I was back. And from that day forward, I was able to hear God say, you will never be that troubled again. And so I've been guided. And Lynn Scott Hagerman and I have talked, because from childhood, I had some near-death experiences twice, and he was there. Jesus was there. So, and talked to me. So she and I get along a lot on that. But she saw him a lot more than I did, and I didn't have to go through what she did. But anyway, so it has been a long journey with me. But growing up in Oneida, they had a religious belief that Jesus had come again in 70 AD, and there was no such thing as marriage. You shared wives, children, house. I'm serious. The kids that grew up out of that, like my father and my grandparents, they were agnostic, because they didn't like, but they had a successful business. So they all still lived there. We were all related, but they didn't have the religious part. So then as that had broken up, we went to whatever church we wanted. And I went to the Episcopal Church. My mother was brought up Southern Baptist and fundamentalist. And so she prayed every day for all of us to wake up. And she had 5 kids. And so my oldest sister and my third sister, there's 5 of us, so 4 girls and a boy, they became nuns. They became Catholic and nuns, and they worked directly in Rome and under the Pope. They very serious stuff. And they still are, One of my sisters came to live with me last year, so many of you got to meet her. She's gone back to Australia to live with the Tiny Sisters of the Poor, or whatever it is. And my other sister is in Ohio, Toledo. And I'm very close to them, but they do have a different belief than I do, because I'm more Episcopalian, unity, whatever. So that has guided me. And what you and I were talking about before, Brad, is the terrible things that have been happening to the truthers. People get attacked, right? And with weapons or whatever. So my job now for my team, and this is my team, is to pray very hard and passionately for you guys every morning, and my children and me. I'm just Grandma Jen. I'm nothing else. But I have taken that on, and it is a serious responsibility. And I have a prayer that I wrote that I've shared with you and Lisa. It's in her book, but I will give you that if anybody wants it, on living in the house of love versus the house of fear. And I had become a therapist for quite a few years, and I worked in hospice for many, many years. And I ended up writing this prayer when 9/11 happened, right that week. I wrote it because I was what do I do? What do I do to fight this horrible thing that happened? And I sat down and I wrote this prayer on opening my heart to love rather than fear. So that's there if you want it. And I have another prayer for all of you that we could end with, that Alan Cohen, he's a writer. He was a well-known writer. He's a very dear friend of mine. We've been friends when he did workshops in New Hampshire. But he sent this to me years ago, and I believe it belongs to you, Brad, and Michael, and Tracy Joe, and and Lynn, and the people that I have met and that I work with, Jerry Foley, 107, all these people are so courageous. I'm getting chills head to toe right now. So this is may I read this to you?
I was going to say, would you read that one now? And we can close with the one you wrote and published in We Are Quantum.
I've got it framed because it was sent to me by Alan. And he said, and he had read it to me. Okay, when I actually disagreed with my sisters, the nuns, because they had joined what had become a cult, and I went on 2020 and talked about it. And
you're on 2020 talking about your two sisters becoming nuns.
No, talking about the fact that what they were doing in their order was really wrong. And they really did disown people and harm people. And now we're at peace and we're friends again. But I was so horrified with what they were doing. I was asked to speak about it, and I did. So anyway, Alan sent me this because of that, because I thought I'd never see my sisters again. Instead, we got together 4 years later. They finally let me see them, and we're as close as ever now. So Courageous Friend is what it's called. If all the music died and music makers ceased, I think you'd stand and sing a hymn of hope and peace. And remember, this is to all of you listening here too. If nights of doubt and fear against the light were hurled, I think you'd light a candle and stand against the world. If winds of changing times uprooted trees and sod, which they have been doing lately, think about the hurricanes. And anyway, I think instead of mocking, you'd stand in praise of God. The beauty of your life is like a work of art inscribed by memory's hand upon my grateful heart. And it's by Perry Tanksley. And I will send this to you. I haven't even got a picture of this, but I will take a picture and send it to you. I just took it off my wall.
That's awesome. I've got the feeling that I want to do a voiceover to that, very similar to Alan Watts, and then publish it with some really nice footage and put it out there. But I don't know Perry. You do. So you
no, I don't. Perry Tanksley, somebody, I'll do some research if he's alive.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Cohen sent me this. He had been
Alan. Okay, great. Yeah.
Alan Cohen's he's quite a writer, prolific writer.
Yeah, that would be great to just put up on the podcast show and just leave it. People have prayers that.
We could honor his name.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah.
It was like
awesome.
Boom.
Light a candle against the world.
Yeah.
I love it.
I guess forever. And I used to protest. I used to go to the Nevada Desert Witness site. I don't know if you do that, but they put me on their board, and I would go to jail with these nuns and teach them how to lay hands on and heal. And, and what is so weird, Brad?
Did you learn that in hospice?
No, I learned that.
We didn't touch that little part. And I think it's quite fascinating too, because social worker background.
I did it in hospice.
The decades, but you've opened hospices.
Yeah, I did. I did start hospices, and I New Hampshire Hospice Affiliates was what I was involved with, but I worked with all of New England. So you guys benefited in Vermont and stuff. And my friends that were into healthy touch and laying on of hands, they were the ones, I took a couple classes in Tampa, but truthfully, when I started in hospice, one of my first people that I took care of, I just put my hands on her stomach and just breathe in and out. And she used to say, please bring your hands back. They're magic. I don't have pain. And there was a book out with the rainbow healing touch. And that was, I was giving it away to my kids. My kids grew up with this, everybody, my friends. So I still probably got it here somewhere, but healing touch, a rainbow with your hands. Cause all of us have that.
Christ said.
Everybody has it. And I was mentored by a man named Alex Tanis, and he taught in Maine at the University of Southern Maine in Portland, Maine. He taught parapsychology. He had studied to be a Catholic priest, and he was so famous because he could meditate on someone, and if they had cancer, he'd say it's between them and God, but if they want the healing and God, they want it, and they would be healed. I saw it over and over. Never charged a penny, but he always said, Jennifer, it's from Jesus. And if the minute you think it's from you, forget it. And Elizabeth Kubler-Ross taught me that. I got to know her. And in a hospice, I was, when I was president of New Hampshire Hospice Affiliates, I went to her conferences and then I got to know her a little bit. But anyway, she would say the same thing. If you think it's you that's healing, you're wrong. It's God, Yep. So I say that today to all of us that, and Lisa pushes all this. So I haven't even thought to share it because she's such a great teacher on that. So I guess the healing part is important for all of us to feel and trust. And in hospice, I had different things happen. I walked into one woman's room who had been, well, I'd go into places, Alzheimer's, and they didn't talk, and all of a sudden they'd start saying, hi, hi, hi. And it's like they saw something I didn't see behind me. So anyway, I had a lot of magical moments like that. And I was and I still am very devoted to Mary along with Jesus. And I walked in this room with this woman who hadn't talked for a month or two, and I went to help the husband, and she sits up and she goes, Mary, Mary, and she wouldn't stop. And her husband's going, quiet, this is Jennifer, you know. And I go, no, 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 I know what she's doing. It's okay. It's okay.
Yep.
She saw her. I'm sure she saw her. You know, but anyway, so those are a few mystical things, but
that was only a month ago. I was in Medjugorje, a little over a month ago.
I'm jealous.
And, you know, walking into St. James Cathedral and, you know, just do the holy water blessing. And all of a sudden, I literally felt a physical presence touch me right here. And I could barely walk to the back pew because I just started weeping and weeping and weeping. And it was a joyful weeping, but it was just immediate. And I went in there, you know, I had no notions of anything. I wasn't coming in like I need a healing or this is going on. I was just, you know, in beautiful awe. I had the day to drive from Sarajevo to Medjugorje and stay the night, and walked in just over 45 minutes in the pew, just happy, weeping, happy. Okay, so there was either an angel or we had obviously the presence of God and Mother Mary right there, especially because it is such a feminine energy in the entire area. And beautiful and welcoming and soft and peaceful. And it was wild. I mean, again, you know, you just have to go with the flow and feel that for people. You know, there are things that you got to bypass the frontal lobe, prefrontal cortex, your logical mind, and just get into the feeling of who we truly are as spirits and allow these emotions to process and come forth. And felt amazing after that. I was feeling fine going in, but boy, you know, it literally just felt like there were two physical fingers that just got pressed right here gently and nonstop weeping. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. Yep. I've got some Medjugorje stuff with me around here too. Yep.
Brad, I gotta come visit you and get some holy oil. I had some on my desk here, but I don't have it now. But as you're talking about that, Mary is very important to me. And I keep saying I'm not Catholic, but I still can say the rosary, you know. But it's funny. I told you I was an agnostic for a while. Then I was in this marriage that was really hard on me. And I've had a couple of those. But anyway, and I say that because you're going to see mystical things happening. But I was supposed to be in each one and have each child that I have. So anyway, I went to the St. Mary's Chapel, the Episcopal Church in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And I knelt down and I really I wasn't feeling close to Jesus. I had these experiences as a kid, but it didn't make me religious. So I go in there and I'm praying to Mary at the St. Mary's Chapel saying, dear Mary, I just don't feel it. I can't feel close to Jesus. I feel close to you. I trust you, but I don't feel close to Jesus. And I looked up and there she was laughing. And she said, but don't you know? We are one. And she laughed and I saw Jesus come right up to her.
Wow. Holy cow. I haven't heard that
before. I've never had trouble praying to either one. They are one. We are one with them. You know, and I'm hearing about all these Muslims having mystical Jesus experiences. It's like we are all one. I believe we all came from God. You know, I've had a few mystical experiences, other people because we needed them for whatever. And so it's just never give up, you know. And I have an uncle and a sister-in-law that didn't choose to live when they were depressed. And I just want to say to everybody, just don't ever give up. There's so much going
I've
forward.
been there several times myself. Yeah. My dad trying to off himself right in front of me at the age of 12, you know, and telling me that he was going to do it. And because it was, you know, the Bush family crashed to Canada in recession and had TD Bank come and take away our house and said, I got $1 million insurance policy. and it's not worth it. Fortunately, we were able to get him some help, but for months he was, down in an asylum.
Because
to check him into.
He was attached
exactly.
to you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like a Harakiri type of thing, right?
Yep. My
like,
uncle.
Well, I don't know how to help my family. I got $1 million insurance policy. It's 91 or something, and that'll set them right. So, it's worth staying around for everyone. And I've had those dark nights of the soul too. And by the way, I just want to speak about the army, that you're part of Gideon's army. Jen was telling me she just spent a full day with 107. And he got to learn from her that she is one of the original Gideon's army up there. So,
well, we were all there. So it was a reunion. So he was surrounded by Gideons. They were all Gideon people, because there's 300. But there were only about 100 there. But Jerry Foley, who was I love him, and he is he saved me through the divorce I was going through 6 years ago, whatever. And because I would listen to him. And even though it wasn't like my prayers, my little Episcopal prayers, it was very much calling to the altar. But he is always enthusiastic. He can't slow down. And that's what I love about him. And so I just would listen, and I got such peace from it. And I wrote to him and I said, Jerry, please pray for Grandma Jen, because I'm going through a divorce, and I have 8 children, 4 of mine, 4 steps, and 12 grandchildren. So that's what that was, but getting the numbers right. And so I was, And so he did. He was very good, and they all were. And then they had this reunion up there this year that I finally went to, and Juan came for the whole last day, and he actually is bringing people together in Las Vegas for a big meeting called The Storm, with all these truthers. And then there's another one that they're having in Branson, Missouri. Okay. Anyway, that Lynn and I are going to, and that's going to be very powerful. Mary Crowley, Open the Heavens. These people are heavy duty prayer warriors. And I said, okay, I'll go, even though I do it differently. I hold my little book and pray every morning. But it's good. I get energy from these people of faith, and we're fighting. I guess that's an important thing for me to share is, I called my sister, I say my sister, each one of them, but Sister Lydia is in Australia. The other Sister Prudence is in Ohio. But anyway, I called
your bloodline sisters who are nuns, and you got a Holy Toledo that you're rocking.
I know, that's true. Chris is in Toledo, my holy sister. They had beautiful names. Christine Hope Allen, and now she's Sister Prudence Allen. And then my other one was Elizabeth Joy Allen, and she's now Lydia Allen. Yeah. But I'll say this out loud to everybody. My sister, I'll send it to her. She sang with Donna Summers, and she was on Love to Love You Baby.
Nice.
Name. If you look at the record, it's Betsy Allen. And so it's been our joke to always play that at weddings and stuff so that we think of a nun.
Yep.
But anyway, so she has a beautiful voice. Both of them do. But the reason I'm telling you this, I just went totally, Roxanne would say, I had a squirrel that just took me away. So my apologies to everybody if you're listening.
Oh, good. You get those moments.
Yeah, but I did have something I wanted to share with you, Jerry. Praying for all of you. I don't know. It'll come.
Well, we are divine expressions of source anyways, right? And we're part of the source code, literally. Nothing crazy about that whatsoever. We are beings of light. You can see it in Krulian photography. And we're part of the family of light, right? People are going through their ascension phase right now. And an aspect of that ascension phase is returning to a spiritual awakening that they're having, about, okay, we're here in this corporeal vessel, and that vessel is the one that's taking care of us in order to allow us to do our work. That's my belief, and you can see it everywhere else, Jennifer. Just look at that. So you said you're 79 now, and you said this month you're turning 80.
No, 79. I turned 79 this month.
79.
I'm 78.
You're 78
in October. Yeah.
Man, you're crushing it. You're traveling everywhere, and you're
more than
hanging out with all your 8 kids, your family, your 12 grandkids. It's freaking amazing. And, you have an abundance of energy. And I think that's just a perfect example of what we can all be, right? There was a guy that I saw who is 80 years old, and he is out just running and he's crushing it. And part of that starts with the mindset. and then being open and aware to things that allow you to return, maybe reverse your aging and return back to who you were supposed to be. Like I like what Gregory says.
Water.
Yeah, LifeWave. You've got the LifeWave water. I've got my cellar dyes in the water here. I usually drink because it's 106 right now outside, 106 Fahrenheit. And then on top of that, it just sucks out of the air. I'm usually going through about 4 or 5 glasses of cellar dyes throughout the day, along with 1 to 2 fresh coconuts, to stay hydrated.
Amazing. Yeah.
But these things are here for us, for everybody to jump into. Go ahead.
Yeah, I keep thinking it's going to help me stay around a little longer anyway. And
certainly.
With Jerry, I know what it is. Back with going through this divorce that surprised me. I actually, a friend of mine, Barbara Lippincott, who's 82 now.
Yeah. That was the last time we were on together in April. You and Barbara and I. Yeah.
Yeah. And she came to my prayer room here, and she said, and it's now my office and prayer room. She sat and put a patch on my neck. I know. Yeah. So she said, she put a patch on my neck. She said, Jen, I want you to wear this X39 patch. I think it'll help you. And David Schmidt, the inventor, is going to be in Sarasota tomorrow, and his good friend Harris Williams is having him come speak to few people, like 100, not a lot. And I went, well, I don't know who he is, and I don't know anything about the patches, but okay, I'll go. And so, Brad, it was coming to me to tell you, I always say yes. If it feels right, I say yes and go, And so I did. I said yes. But every weekend, I was leaving my home and going to Orlando to be with my oldest daughter and grandchildren and her husband, because, and that's that other prayer I'll teach, but it's go to the house of love instead of the house of fear. And my ex-husband and I lived together for another 1.5 years while he just took his time and was going to find whatever. Well, that wasn't easy. So rather than be mad or anything else, I just left and went towards love. And so I went down to Sarasota, took pictures of David's first talk, and it is all those pictures are what Gregory now uses on his app, so we've got, you can see them all, but I was going click, click, click. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think I will buy these patches, right? Went to Sarasota, went to Orlando, and my 2 oldest daughters were there with their best friend. All 3 signed up right away. And my daughters are still wearing the patches, no matter what. And so, and then I have other daughters that won't, and I did a lot of Al-Anon in my younger years, and I learned to let go, let God, let go, let God. Okay, Mom, I'm not interested. Okay, let go, let God, because I thought I could save everybody, and I can't. I just have to love everybody where they are.
Free will.
So that was how I got to know. And so David, the gift I got from my ex-husband, Dr. Bill, was that he was a real conservative, and I was so far to the other side. So he brought me to the middle. My kids said I went to the dark side. I said, oh no, I woke up. But anyway, so in listening to Bill's, he always had stuff playing, I learned about Michael Jaco, and I said, Bill, I like Michael Jaco's talks because he talks about stay in the love bubble. And I'm a Navy SEAL, and my people could have died, but I told them stay in the love bubble. And he goes on, and that's exactly what I taught. And I don't know if I said this, but when I went to become a social worker, I became I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So I'm trained with everything, including EMDR and hypnosis, to help people that have been traumatized and harmed as kids. So I did like 40 years of always involved with hospice, but then I took 10 years extra and worked as a therapist one-on-one. And I also accepted the military because that's trauma right there. Yep. And I was one of the few TRICARE therapists. I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care what I earn. I want to do this. So, and that sort of follows up with teaching people. What I taught them is you can choose the house of love or the house of fear. And I have to acknowledge Henry Nouwen, a Catholic author, who taught me that when I was at Harvard Divinity School, because he taught us house of love versus the house of fear. And then I started using it as a therapist.
That's amazing. At Harvard Divinity School, he was teaching that.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Well, he came for 2 years, and I was at Episcopal and Harvard Divinity School taking classes at both. Almost got ordained until I went through divorce. on the other one. And so I said, I think I'll be a social worker. I don't want my kids to have to answer any questions in church about anything. And protective mama. So they're, they are my number one, and then everything else. So what happened for me is that I did this. I went to Orlando, where my oldest daughter lives. And then I kept saying, Michael Jaco, somebody should show this to him. It's been like 18 years and nobody's got him wearing patches. Seriously.
Yeah.
No
and just
one.
so you know, 18 years, your statement 18 years is it was originally developed for Navy SEALs. These guys, the energy enhancers. I'm wearing those right now. Yep.
2001 is when David was cut off from the Navy SEALs, and Skin Wisdom, our inventor with Dr. Bill, 2001, we were cut off from a double-blind study from the National Cancer Institute. And my guy, our Dr. Walter, was the head of Scripps Clinic's microbiology lab. And so I met David, and he's saying, 2001, I was working out of Scripps Clinic. And I go, so we were there at the same time.
that same time. Yeah.
And inventing things that are all natural that can help people.
Yeah.
And we're still trying, but I didn't do MLM and I'm not gonna, but anyway, so fast forward, I said, okay, God, I guess that Michael Jaco needs these, but I never figured how, what, where. And Dr. Bill said, I'm going to go to a workshop of Michael Jaco's. And I said, oh, okay, have fun. And I wasn't going to go because he, and then he was allowed to bring someone for $1, and the person he was supposed to bring canceled. And I went, can I have that $1 ticket? I found out that one of my best friends from Tampa was one of Michael and Tracy Joe's best friends. It was running the workshop with them.
Nice.
So, but I will tell you that I went to that workshop a day early. I went and she introduced me, Joyce Pellegrini. She said, I want you to meet Michael and Tracy Joe. And I said, well, I need your help. Because remember, I was a full-time therapist at this time, full-time. I go, you need to sign up for LifeWave patches under me, and you need to sign up Michael Jaco, because I don't have the time. I could never do it. I don't know how to do this, and I know he's going to be big. I knew that. And she wouldn't sign up. Nah, I'm not going to do any of that. Nah. And I begged. And then then I met Tracy Joe the next day. And that's what I want to tell you all, that the reason that Michael and Tracy Joe signed up, I went in to the workshop, and Michael's at the front of the room and everybody's taking notes. And I went quietly to the side, and I tell everybody, don't go to the front, just see who else is there. And Tracy Joe was there getting Michael's book set up. And I sat with her while Michael's talking, and I started sharing with her about the patches. And I said, but here, and I gave her the energy patches, Brad. She put them in her hand, and she goes, I feel and she would. I feel the energy. I go, Tracy Joe, I'm so glad you do, because I don't. I never do. But you do? That's awesome. And I gave her one set of energies for her and one for Michael, and one set, just one each, X39 for each of them. That's it. They went home with, and the next, not
the envelope. You just went, okay, what I'm going to do is gift you one.
Robin taught me that. Robin says, just give one.
Important. Yep.
By the way, we all break that. And I give envelopes all the time too for people in need. I can. And Michael does, and we all do. But that time I didn't. So and he wore them, and she did, and he called me the next day. He called. I did twice the workout. I have to have these patches. Can you come today? And I went back to Sarasota. Are you kidding? And I ended up becoming a LifeWave, whatever, manager, director, because God sent me there. I wasn't ready. I was begging Joyce to take it. And Tracy Joe made a call to her, please, Joyce, because Tracy Joe didn't want to have to do it either. We're both saying, oh my God, no, this has been too much. And it's been the best. I've met all of you. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. This job is my best ever. Best ever. And so, I don't know. I should be quiet and let you talk.
No, it's beautiful for everybody to hear that, because one of the very first times that I saw you with Tracy Joe, she was saying that these are blessings. She's even, after wearing the third X39, remember she had her board, and she would put the patch on the board and say, each one of these are blessings of light. And remember, everybody, again, if you're just new and not realizing this, okay, so the X39 with the Celergize that, you know, I'm drinking right now, won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year award in October 2025, right? So here it is. It hasn't even been a year.
1 year ago.
And finally, with that breakthrough, and this thing has, you know, there were 70 patents David went through in 10 years of research, stem cell activation for a sticker. What, you know, like I call this a sticker. It acts like a satellite dish, reflects the GHKCU peptide in your body, the frequency back at it, and then immediately activate your copper peptides, your stem cells, and 1/3 of your genome. And you put it on, you set it and forget it. So that's a blessing. 100%. It's a blessing. Price has never gone up in all the years, almost approaching 7 years it's been on the market, because David said, I want, you know, I was told by God that I want God's children are to have this everywhere, and everybody, anybody. And again, they're making like 2 million of these a day in Ireland, and they ship to like 80 to, or I think we're at almost 100 countries now that you can get them at. And so again, blessing, right? So you gave a blessing of energy. Tracy Joe is extremely attuned to the energy, and just that one X39 Mike put on, and he was able to do twice the workout. And we're talking about a guy who is SEAL Team 6. When he retired from SEAL Team, when he left SEAL Team 6 Dev Crew, he became the head BUDS instructor, the guy who ran all of BUDS for the Navy SEALs coming in on the enlisted side in Coronado. And on top of that, he was breaking world records bodybuilding at the same point in time. And he wore X39 once, and he just told everybody he had twice the amount of workout just the first time he put on the patch. And I was a one patch wonder. About 80 or 90% of people are one patch wonders. You know, we have people here like, you know, Norman Traversy doing amazing with it. You know, he's a one patch wonder. We got this woman, Chris, she doesn't want her last name to be given, but she's up in the Midwest too. She went from using a walker to doing yard work in 3 days with these patches. And again, it's frequency, right? It's exactly like Einstein said, the medicine of the future will be frequency medicine. So the harmonics of our body, and harmonics, when you look at Sanskrit, when you look at the original writings and teachings of Christ, and you look at universe and Om being the sound of creation, well, every one, Ivy League school, MIT, determined that every one of the organs in our body has a different harmonic signature, different vibration. So imagine if we have a certain vibration that does all of this, how quickly you can return to homeostasis. And I guess we're not allowed to say the word healing at this moment, but I'm using it in a general context level. You know, imagine if you could return things to their original way that they were in their chemical makeup, then you don't have dis-ease. And that's one of the great things about these patches, giving us one patch wonders, like Michael's story, my story, so many others, Norman Traversy's story, Colonel Chuck Seller's story from former Deputy Commander of Delta Force. Anyway, I'll go on and on, but I won't. Back over to you.
Well, I think of your team, Michael and you, and I'm just so blessed by all of you, Michael, Tracy, Joe, you, Brad, and the people you work with, and I'm thinking of Kevin and just all of them. You bring the military side in a way in, right? And all of you, and and then Robin and Gregory.
Yeah, military and first responder. You know, Norman, first responder, me. I mean, I wouldn't really, it can be classified being a wildfire fighter and a fire ranger, hopping off helicopters, helitac as first response, but we're not, you know, rushing into the burning buildings all the time. We're just running on helicopters going to fight forest fires. It's pretty rare that we're around structures. You know, we did have to evacuate a town once, but yeah, first responders, military. Yeah.
My father and brother were volunteer firemen because our city couldn't afford to pay. So everybody had a full-time job, and all the jobs knew that if there was a fire, all of them would be leaving, the people that were firemen, you know, and I grew up with that. I grew up with the walkie-talkie in the kitchen and all that stuff. So skin wisdom is fantastic for burns. Remember that. And that's right. My heart. And my mother and I started the company together with that. But anyway, coming back to this, I wanted to say our team that works with you and everybody under you, they don't stop. I mean, Connie, Barry, Robin, Gregory, Barbara, they all just there. And I learned eventually that it's a 7-day-a-week job. I used to try to have it 5 days a week. So it's 7 days a week. And then we try not to answer the phone every time, but it's hard not to. So and yet I say to you, I'm happier than I've ever been. I absolutely love your energy and everybody's energy that is on our team. Lisa, and Barry. Oh my God, the whole group under you.
That's amazing. Yeah, even Kevin, I just did a show with Kevin yesterday, Kevin Hoyt, right? And he's wearing it, and he just had another person register underneath him a few days ago as well. And obviously what he's going through, and Lynn and I are about to do another show on this too for the children, like you can, the power of what these patches do to people. If anybody's not sure, number one, there's over 89 clinical studies. Number two, you already saw 250 patents already to David Schmidt. And we're going to get into the God angle into it in Jesus Christ here in a moment on the water machine and that backstory, because it's truly phenomenal. What we're looking at here with, X39 and these frequency patches is these blessings that restore the harmonics to your body to the way that it should be, and allowing your body to heal itself. Those are literally coming out of prophecy. Jesus said, everybody's familiar with the adage, these things I do, you can do in greater, right? And you're like, well, heal a sick, or a leper came up and touched your robe and they're healed. And we're not saying that you put on X39 on and a leper will come up and touch you and they'll be healed. But you can certainly see very quickly with the studies, as it shows, 100% of the people have 100% results. It depends on the environment, like the age range and the environment, the toxicity we've been exposed to, and the foods and everything in our air. You could have a one patch wonder, or you could be Lisa Schermerhorn, where it took three and a half months. Lisa called me a few times. She's like, I'm not sure if they're working. I'm like, well, you're not using the tracker sheet, but trust me. And in order for her to stay, I said, listen, I will pay and reimburse you for anything if you still want to give them back. Wonderful. And it was her kids showing up at Christmas to see her in the house in Vermont. And they're like, Mom, what are you doing? You look amazing. Like ages were taking off her, years were taken off her in just those 3.5 months. She wore X39, right? One of those 70 patents is because it reverses aging. So then she's like, okay, I'm good. Now, sharing and whatnot, which is awesome.
Brad, I want to add 2 long-term things. I was a one patch wonder. When I wore them the first week, I was a walker 3 to 5 miles a day, and my knee was in total pain. The pain went away and it never came back until, and that's the second patch. Second thing I want to say is that I tripped in an airport 2 years ago, and I ripped the meniscus on both sides. And then I still walked to the airplane and got on it. I was in Charlotte going up to see a daughter and grandchildren. Anyway, I couldn't get off the plane. They had to get a wheelchair to get me out because I can put up with pain, but I couldn't move it. So anyway, and by the time I got home, I got inspected by the head of University of South Florida's orthopedic surgeon, and he does all the sports teams. But David Schmidt had brought him patches that he had given him for an entire year for the girls' basketball team, just hoping they might take them on. And Connie called and said, Jen, find out why they didn't buy any. They just took them. Yeah. So when I went in, I said, okay, doctor, I won't use his name because I just said this about him, but Dr. Blank, he goes, I want to replace your knee because I was 76. It was only a couple of years ago. So I'm going to replace your knee and I have to stitch all your knee, your meniscus back, and you're old. And I said, well, I hear you're very aware of the patches from LifeWave, right? Yeah. Well, did you like them for your team? Yes. I said, well, I'm going to just patch my knee. I'm not going to, I want to wait. And you can watch it. If I need the surgery, I'll do it, but I want to do that. So I was patching it. It took a while, I was using everything I could. First, Robin said, put everything on it, everything. So I did. But then I followed the thing that regrows your cartilage. And I always wore the X39, which also helps cartilage all over your body. But anyway, so a year almost has gone by, and I would get checked by him, and he had me down for surgery. He was still going to replace my knee. And I called him up. I said, my knee doesn't hurt anymore. Why do you have me down?
Why do you want to cut?
Yeah. I said, would you please do an X-ray or whatever, CAT scan?
MRI.
I wanted proof, right? He wouldn't do the CAT scan. He says, okay, I'm canceling your surgery, but he wouldn't do the darn CAT scan. They whatever. So my knee is fine. And I did do physical therapy for it and brought myself. But the second thing that happened, and this is why I want people to hear this, because it takes more than a year.
You avoided a knee replacement surgery at 76 with the patches. I regrew my back molar using the wallpaper method with the patches. I had my one patch wonder, with excruciating pain, excruciating discomfort with 9 out of 10. And then it went to a 1 in less than 3 minutes. Yeah.
So the extra thing that I got was that I have always, from birth, my parents, we lived in upstate New York. We'd go to the Adirondack Mountains. I would throw up every time we went up to the camp because of the curly roads through the mountains, right? Okay. I couldn't go out into the ocean with my husband. He wanted me to go fishing. I would throw up. I tried. Couldn't go. So I flew always with the bands that you put on your arms, in case the plane gets weird. And I always had, medicine if I need it. All of a sudden, 2 years into the patches, no, 3 years in, I went, I'm not getting sick anymore on the airplanes because I visit my kids. I go cross country, I go everywhere to see them. I go, that's weird. So then we got an invitation from the guy that introduced me to David Schmidt. He says, I want to take Michael Jaco and his top managers that are in Florida out on my boat in the Tampa Bay area. Jen, would you arrange it? I said, sure. So I called up, got 12 people. They were all there. We went on the boat. But I knew that I hadn't been getting sick and I hadn't been wearing the armbands. I got on that boat with nothing, no armbands, no medicine, nada. And I took a bottle of sparkling water. That was it. But they had food and wine and everything. I said, well, I'm just going to drink sparkling water. But I got to the end of a 5-hour trip and it was really bad in the Bay. It was all over the place. And I said, Michael, I have a confession to make. And then I told him that I thought I would be throwing up all over you, but I was hoping that I wouldn't. I've never been sick from the time before that. On the airplanes, I just don't get sick anymore. My inner ear has totally healed. And I didn't know that the patches would change stem cells that I'd had from birth where I would get sick and throw up. I don't. I remember huge.
It's totally huge. So there you've saved yourself from a kneecap replacement surgery. You no longer have air sickness, sea sickness, boat sickness. And Dr. Pamela Lewin had said here on the first show I brought her on, her obviously her typical thing is, if it built you, it will heal you. So again, you're dealing with your stem cells, right? These is your blueprint of life. This is your God source code. This is your source code from God, your blueprint for the eyes you're going to have, the hair color you're going to have. I had really blonde hair when I was a kid. Now it's, kind of blondish with a little bit of the gray at the moment in time in the beard, but it makes me look sexy, I've been told. Whatever. But she said the very first thing your stem cells do, this is literally what they do, is when they're reactivated, they heal your heart, brain, and lungs. And they go to work. The very first thing they do, it's like triage, the way she described it, right? So here's an MD. She's 80, in her 80s too. We just did the Sunday call with her. It heals your heart, brain, and lungs first. So it's amazing, and it makes sense about your eyes. I was just sharing, speaking of eyes, I was just sharing on the Friday show that when I was over in Europe in one of the hotels, I forgot my glasses. So now, I wear contact lenses, but in the evening, I have the Blu-ray glasses, plus they have my prescription, So I left them in a hotel room, and I'd already checked out, gone and whatnot. So when I came back here 2 weeks ago, I got my eyes checked and my eyes have improved. So, but I'm not I'm not putting them on in my eyes. It's been 2.5 years I've been wearing the patches. You know, it took me a year after Michael was like, give it a try, give it a try, give it a try. And you guys sent them to me in the envelope, and Tracy, Joe, you, Robin, and Michael. And I opened the envelope, and there's a couple of patches, because at that time in China, the patches were unallowed by Public Health Canada. Isn't that amazing, right? You can't have anything that might activate your copper peptides and alanine and stuff like that. And so, yeah, thank you for sneaking it in and me having that one patch wonder. And now I'm sitting here going, you know, I run faster, I dive deeper. Everybody knows I did my free diving 2 years ago, and I did my advanced free diving course to 92 feet going down in the cenote, Mexico on one breath hold. And I have such a better life as a result of it. And I found Norman's testimony here. So I just want to show everybody, these are in his own words, right? 70 years old, 6 TBIs, medically recorded on his record, 25 years firefighter. Here's the first one patch wonder that he had. By day 2 of the X39, I was running upstairs for the first time since the 20th century. There's the guy who won, you know, Governor General's Award 1999, Firefighter Hero of the Year for the entire nation, voted by his peers, which is really important to say. And obviously, all of our testimonies and experiences doesn't mean you're going to have the same thing, everybody. We have to throw that one out there too. But there was recorded by God. Go ahead.
Am I allowed to share a water story or not?
You know what? Let's show the water, because I want to talk about that and the patents and then go to that. So do you want to just earmark that story?
Oh, I can remember it. I can remember it.
Because, so here's the thing, right? Well, I'll show the water, the video that I took just a few weeks ago when I was in Switzerland after a flight, and when it dropped. So if anybody hasn't seen this, right? So this is the game changer. This is what I've said. These are my words. They're not from corporate. So for all of our great compliance people, Julie, hello, watching and seeing this, these are my words, that the X₂O water technology is going to rewrite all the medical textbooks in the world, the world. And I've said that for 2 years since David showed it at conference, and you know, here we are. So I'll play this video. This is a little over 3 minutes, and then we'll talk about the God code of this, the patents, and then go to the water story, Jen. All right, here it is, everybody. A happy Friday message to all of you divine lions, lionesses, from the base of the Jungfrau Mountain, the tallest one in the Berner Oberland. Amazing week so far to practice flying, do a little flying, and you can see some of the clouds rolling in as the weather changes. At any rate, it's been an amazing week for the world, and I hope you are continuing to enjoy all of the incredible comms which are coming out. You don't have to be sitting there every X post every single day. Heck, even take a few days off and enjoy it. And just in the last 24 hours, we had the launch all across the nation in America of X₂O Light-Infused Water. So imagine 6 layers of light going into your body. And the only thing that is immortal in our cells is light. Scientific fact. So when you awaken the light within, you be the light, you're drinking the light, and then you share the light, literally from a harmonic vibration and a resonance which goes out all around you. So just imagine the reflection like we have the sun when you catch thermals, when you're paragliding and you want to get lift and go higher and higher and higher. You have the reflection from the light turns into thermal energy, and then it continues to create lift. That is an example of a harmonic vibration going outwards and the alchemy of it. So the alchemy within for X₂O has had results for everybody who drinks 1 to 2 glasses of water in 15 seconds. So imagine drinking a glass of water, and in your body, 15 seconds, every single person, time after time, study after study. We're talking about infusing the body with light, but because of the FDA and the FTC, there's things we can't say about the incredible, what I would say are miracles. And it was based on the Genesis, the book of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That has a harmonic vibrational resonance of 777, 888, and 999 Newton meters. And there's only one thing in nature that mirrors that. David Schmidt found it. He spent 10 years developing it, 20 patents, created 2 elements on Earth. Water, an element that's never before seen on Earth, a type of water, and a type of mineral, now added to the periodic table. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office had to open a brand new division because nothing like this has ever happened before in human history, at least in the recorded human history. So to me, this is like imbibing in your being water from heaven, because it's literally inspired out of that passage in the book of Genesis. So imagine you're in a beautiful heaven like this, but you're imbibing it and then you're sharing it throughout your world, your day, your family, your pets. It's incredible. Works for tap water, everything. Takes out microplastics, dual stage filtration, enriched with hydrogen, and 6 layers of light. Look at that. How do you like the new haircut? All right, everybody. The link's below for everybody in America who would like to get a hold of it, and you can tap into it for as little as $7 a day. Check PayPal at checkout, and you can qualify for 3, 5, 12, 24 months. And I will tell you, here in Switzerland, when you go to buy mineral water in the store, it's 5 francs. That's almost €7. That's almost $9 US for 1 liter bottle of water. And you're typically going through 3 a day. So just right there with X₂O at $7 a day on PayPal qualification, it is far cheaper than a 1 liter bottle in any one of the supermarkets in Switzerland. How about that for a business case for helping yourself increase your health, hydration, and wellness? Until next time, everybody, have a great day. And we are all here to connect with you, help you as you enrich yourself with LifeWave and wellness. So what do you think about that, Jen?
I like it. I like it. I'm smiling. And I was thinking, because I have many people that come to my house all day long to get the water, I'm helping a lot. Some people have the C word, and I've been helping them. And I had a sort of an adopted daughter. My daughter, I won't say names. She came by to get it, and she said, Jennifer, she was taking medication because her back is in so much pain for years. She's had to take a muscle relaxant and a pain reliever. She forgot to take her pain meds today. She's been on the water for 3 days.
Wow.
Take them. And so she called me all excited. And so I said, so she's going to come every day for a month and see how it affects. And her husband is watching and he's interested. What I wanted to share with you guys, one thing, I was on the water plus the cellulize. They call it, what is it? Tracy Joe calls it the Trinity. So patches, cellulize, and the water. I went to, I've been going to a nutritionist. I get my vitamins, that I don't take a lot anymore because it's all in cellulize, but the oils and different things I need. She weighs me every time I go in. Jen, I got to see if you've lost any weight, and I want to see, what's fat and what's muscle, right? So I get on her fancy scale. God knows what it ever cost. But I'm on there with my hands on the bars, and she said, what are you doing different? She said, you've gone down in fat and up in muscle.
Yeah.
So I gained muscle, lost fat, and I lost some weight too. So that was good because I wouldn't want it always to be equal. But anyway, I thought that was pretty good because I did have the proof, the numbers proof for it. There's just so much.
It's surprising to people. Again, I remember hearing the adage, I didn't come up with it, issues in our tissues. Right. When you look at body work, good massage, you look at Rolfing, right? Things can be completely removed from that.
Yes.
And you can have changes in your life. Like for me, Rolfing, I had scoliosis and Sherm's disease of my spine as a younger kid. And I always had these massive issues going up into my late 20s till I met a Rolfer, was told what Rolfing is. And in just a matter of a few sessions, it completely changed my life, right? Just by reorienting a few things. And that's what I feel, again, with the water. You're drinking liquid light under Carolean photography, like they've shown in the conference. You know, people have their throat chakras, their crown chakras, these feelings of complete awakening. You're drinking liquid light inspired directly by the Bible and that passage. And then the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office story that David shared at conference, he's put Jesus Christ's name on the patent application, 20 patents applied for. And he said he got a phone call back and then followed by a letter that said, you cannot use Jesus' name. And he said, this is where the download came from, and told them how he read the passage from the Bible and he converted it to Newton meters, like I just shared in that video, everything. And they said, it has to be your name. And then they had to open a brand new U.S. Patent and Trademark Office division because the water and the element has never existed before on Earth. So here we are, folks, like again, divined by Creator. And he was giving all of the credit to our prime creator, right, Jen?
It's amazing. And, you know, I've watched David, well, over the last 5 years. He'll get up on a stage with a couple thousand people, and he's got people all over the world. There's 2 million under, you know, using them now everywhere. So every religion is represented. And he's just very humble. But he said, I'm a Christian. I choose to kneel down and pray before I do any work. And before he hires anyone, I found out he has a prayer room in his office. He goes into the prayer room, prays over what he's just interviewed, and comes back out. God helps him decide who to hire.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
There's so much. But, you know, our patented silicone, we aren't a silicone. They had to get a whole new name for us in the International Cosmetic book, because there was nothing like what we had created. We separated the silicone from oxygen and silicone. We had done a whole new ingredient. So we had to go through that. I didn't have a division, but we had to recreate a whole new name because we couldn't use silicone. It's not what we have. We've got it split, you know. But, yeah. Yep. And so I feel so bonded to David, and he does know. I mean, he knows about what we've got, but he's got his own skincare line, so I don't push, you know. But, and actually, I just know that things are happening now, and it's going to come out in a different way. But anyway, do you want me to read you the prayer that I had for, there's David.
I would love to. And just so along the alignment of how this man looks after people, and again feels it's exactly his mission to help heal the world through his technologies and his inventions. Again, he just 2026 Entrepreneur of the Year, Code of Creation film, Mikki Willis, right? The Biotech Awards, and then the 250 plus patents. But the statement on what he did for the Canadians, because I just want to pick up on that.
Yes.
When I was gifted these patches, they had to come to me in a way that they wouldn't trip Health Canada. Because again, X39 and all the patches, X49, they're all allowed. People are rocking. And then they locked everybody down. And then they said, well, you can't do this, 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 and you cannot have X39, X49 or these patches anymore. Natural wellness patches, right? Now we know why. What David did that many people don't know, and he doesn't advertise, is he stepped in for brand partners, ambassadors in Canada, and said, well, we're going to take the last, because they shut everything down, right? They shut it down. They said, you can't sell it. You can't distribute it. You can't order it. You can't import it. And said, okay, well, what we'll at least do is take the last 90 days of your income. And he started paying people out of his own pocket, not even corporate.
Yes, he did.
For years. So your business is shut down or an income stream is shut down, and he stepped up to the plate, didn't have to do this, volunteered, and did it out of his own pocket, not even corporate reserves, for years. So that's the type of character in the man that's in this arena right now. And these are incredible tools against spiritual warfare. One of those warfares, when you wear X49 and X39 together, it's proven to block most EMFs. When you have X39 behind where your neck meets the shoulder blade, it's called C7, nice little energy ley line, Chinese meridian on us. And then X49, when it's 2 fingers below the belly button, it creates a toroidal field of protection that blocks most EMFs. And EMFs are slowly microwaving us and our children and babies and our sentient life, our plants, our cats, our dogs, you name it, our animals, you know, slowly cooking us with different levels of frequency that are disparaging you and your organs and your body and your spirit from working correctly. So when you wear that, it blocks most of them. And once again, you're activating your GHK-Cu copper peptides and your alanine peptides, which then activate all your stem cells and 30 your genome. How great is that? With stickers that you wear during the day, brush your teeth, put them on, take them off at night before you go to bed. It's pretty awesome. Okay, Jen, you had the story about the water too.
And I was going to say hello to the people in the chat, but I would have to sign in, and I couldn't do it because I didn't do it then. So Kimmin and Eldon Elder, and there was also Adam James, all of you. Thank you for your comments. And let's see, they're saying thank you so much. So I did give you, Brad, both prayers. They're there if you want to put them into the chat. I can't add anything to the chat.
Yeah. Did you text them to me?
Yes, I did. I texted.
Oh, okay. I'll open my text. All right. Thanks.
And then what I'm going to say to the group is that when September 11th happened, I had just returned the day before with my husband, who's Jewish and I'm Episcopalian. We had just returned from a visit to Egypt. And it was the day before. So a lot of people were asking, what's your religion? What's yours? So we felt something big that was coming, but we had no idea. So I get home, and the next day I'm at work at my office in Tampa, and my secretary is from New Jersey. And all of a sudden we hear about the Twin Towers. And everything's exploding and whatever.
The three WTCs and the Pentagon. The three, not the twin.
Well, the building 7 also, and and so she is freaking because her godfather is worked in the building, but he's a volunteer fireman too. And he went in, saved her, came out. He went back up. He never came out. She lost him. I had many other people. Our best friend that lived up in New York, his daughter's best friend jumped from one of the buildings, and she texted her mother, and she said, I can't, the heat, it's too hot. They were getting cooked, microwaved, I believe. And so she jumped. And so my heart, was already so resonating with everybody there. So I wrote this. It was my way to try to change the darkness towards light. Okay. Because if I did something positive rather than killing somebody or beating something up, it might help. Dear Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer, please bring me to peace through blessing my heart, my mind, and my soul. Please heal any fear-filled inner thoughts or outer actions. Open my heart to love all that is within me and all that surrounds me. Open me up to everlasting peace and unity with myself, my partner, my children, siblings, parents, friends, and strangers. I choose to live in the house of love rather than the house of fear. Help me to bring peace to my home, community, and the world we live in. For this, I give you thanks and dedicate my life to serving the cause of peace and love in my lifetime. Jennifer Allen, September 2001. So anyway, that's what I sent you. And I say that every morning because it's not like you just write it. I use it. I try to, anyway, I say it every morning along with a bunch of,
I just uploaded it here so everybody can see it and take a screenshot of it.
Oh yeah. A screenshot. You can do that. And I sent the other one, and I will do some research on Perry too. I'll try to find out who he is, but and Alan, sent it. But I think we could use it if we said who's the author, from this author, boom. And that's the man's name, Perry Tanksley. I've never heard of him, but anyway, this was a gift from Alan.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, awesome.
So,
thank you very much for sharing that.
Brad and all of our friends, and I'm thinking of just so many that have been trafficked and harmed, and or stalked the stalkers, and that's why I'm not naming their names.
Yeah.
But we know them a lot, and they've become my best friends. And I just want everyone here to know that our family has attracted a lot of these people who are going to make change in the world in a positive way. I believe you're the most courageous people I know, and I'm just sort of Grandma Jen waving at everybody saying, okay, how can I help? So that's it.
Oh, you help immensely. Let me just read to you what Tracy Joe sent me about you, Jen. She knows everybody on the planet by association, one way or another. She's a true networker, a grandmother, a spider energy weaver of bringing souls together and sharing knowledge upon the earth. It's one of the reasons why we love her. That's you.
Well, thank you. And I'll tell you, I love Tracy Joe and Michael so much that when we finish our meetings every day, we go, I love you. I love you say that, because I do. I truly love both of them. And of course, everybody involved that they brought in. So just know that love is in our group. Brad, you know that. And so
it's part of the team. I've said it for the last 2.5 years now. I've never seen anything like it, right? Growing up, we had businesses, mom and dad, we had lumber mills in Ontario, right? And then I've had my own different businesses, real estate investment firms, online businesses. And then obviously I had a corporate background for, when I was down there for ground zero and then flown up to the Pentagon and was 18 stories below it. As Juan has confirmed, the only other one that's been able to confirm for me that it was the missile shot into it. We had all the emails from the corporate background. So my entire life, I've been around entrepreneurs, raised by entrepreneurs. Both my parents never graduated high school, right? They had to make it their own. My dad worked in a lumber yard, thought he was going to be a computer technician, and went out and, opened the Eastern Spruce Pine Fir Market into the United States. Wow. The Eastern seaboard of the United States was not importing Canadian lumber from Ontario and Quebec and New England for the most part, or excuse me, the Maritime provinces. And he's the guy who got that going, Mr. Wozny. So they had, and born on the farm in Saskatchewan, right? To my grandparents, my grandfather Wozny, Polish immigrant parent escaping the Blitzkrieg in Europe. So when I look at the team that we have here, it's nothing that I've ever experienced both as a family, society, and then, in my own upbringing as well, and cousins and whatnot, nor have I ever experienced that in my brief, time in the military and what I did there, or even, being a fire ranger, which is the best job of my life. And then also in the corporate world, nor after that in my own businesses and people I surround myself with, affiliates or business partners and whatnot. There was no coalescence because the heart wasn't there. I'm not saying people didn't have hearts, but the heart for the mission, this is something that we all believe. We believe, our whole team here, from Gregory and Robin, Jennifer, Barbara, Connie, Barry, Michael, Tracy Joe, me, Lynn, we are all on the same team. Kevin Hoyt on our team, Lisa on our team, Schermerhorn, right? We believe in the mission that David expressed in the beginning, to heal the world, and that there's also things that we have not been told that can actually be used for incredible benefit for the planet, not just even humans, but for the entire planet. And that's what we're bringing forward. There's a roadmap here for decades, just with the patented technologies David's bringing out. And some of those he hasn't even shown us yet. So we stand behind that, because it's no stretch for me to say that this is the Star Trek technology. And again, we have, Captain Kirk. David was named Spock in college. That was his nickname. Captain Kirk, played by William Shatner, from Montreal, good old Canadian. Now is a spokesperson for the company. Now has his own podcast with his daughter, who both had stage 4 cancer, no longer have it, which is awesome. And they are spokespeople for the water machine, for the patches, for the company. And then the company, David went and designed the headquarters in Utah, completely off Star Trek, and they hired Doug Drexler, who designed all the Star Trek sets from every single episode, going over 45 years in the movies. So if you want to be part of the wave of the future, this is the team. If you believe that you've been put here, listening to this message, watching this, and know that there's something greater for you that exists, even just as a customer standpoint, trying the X39, then go for it, because there's nothing to lose. All the barriers to entry have been taken away. You can get it anywhere in the world. We have calls that go on 7 days a week, email, phone, Zoom. Everybody's here for you. There are other members that are in the background that don't come on shows, all here for everybody, because we believe in the mission to heal humanity and to upgrade the planet. That's the twofold mission on our team. That's the clarion call. And that's why it's absolutely a family to me, and why we say love you to each other, because it's a true expression of source. True expression of source. Yeah.
We laugh a lot too. We really laugh. I mean, I do.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Okay, so 2 testimonials in the chat, Jen, because we have a call that we're going to as part of our team. It's a hidden call in a little bit, so we can have a break before we go to the call. So here's one in the chat a little while ago. Mad Lady 222 says, I can attest to the patch. I have worn it for 2 years. I've lost 30 pounds. So just like you were saying, Jen, about, shedding the weight and drinking the water, lost 30 pounds, and her dark hair is growing back under her silver hair. I'm 64 years old. And Carabuco, who's in Canada, we know her as a client of ours, said, it has saved me from strokes.
There's another one.
Yeah. Sleeping for the first time in years with X39. And then one last one, Canadian as well.
Nice.
Said currently only 2 months in on X39. Major throat issue has disappeared.
Great.
I've had serious problems swallowing food. Scars from accidents in life are disappearing from British Columbia, Canada. So back to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so I've had people come to me that are dealing with the crazy cells, we call them, but we're not allowed to say what they are. So Anna, who's my massage therapist, who I was just there today, but she came and she said to me, Jen, I have crazy cells in my breast and crazy cells in my lower intestine, and they want to operate. Right. They want me to go on chemo, radiation. I'm a massage therapist. I can't do that, or I won't feel.
And chemo is mustard gas.
Yeah,
it's mustard gas that they use in World War II with radiation.
So I gave her X39, 49, and Eon, and I did give her sleeves. She's my good friend.
Great protocol.
So I gave her that. She immediately started ordering and carrying it forward. Awesome. She went for a CAT scan on the breast. It had disappeared. 2 months. And then she went to have the surgery for the other one because there was something there. And they said, well, we took it out, but it was fully encapsulated. And we could only find one of the, one of the cells around it that we even questioned. So we took that, but that was it. And so then the lymph nodes. So then I'm not kidding. The next week, I got a letter from one of Michael's people in England. And this woman wrote and said, have you heard of anybody having the tumors get encapsulated? I go, yes. She said, well, that happened to me. It was fully encapsulated. Wow. So and I don't share those too often, but I think it's important, and we're not saying what the word is or anything, but this is wonderful stuff. So I just want everybody to know that, a lot of good things can happen. Here, scars disappear. Yes.
Yeah, ultimate free thinker. Scars dramatically improving. I'm sleeping better than ever, and I've been on X39 for only 4 months. So these are people who have been in our Rumble chats, live here, right? And then there was Missitsi and Carabuco on the follow-up to that last one shared. I wear X39 every day. Thanks, Michael Jaco. Thank you. And Carabuco with us have been wearing X39, 49, and Aeon for over 2 years now. It saved my life. I still have mutate gene repair. That's somebody else saying it saved their life. And in our YouTube chat right now, look at this. This is from Kelly Grove. Amazing, Kelly. Welcome aboard. Rob and I were just chatting about you yesterday. So thank you for being here. New brand partner on our team, Jennifer. And Kelly says, I got started last week, day 7 of X39. I love it. I've been sharing with everyone and sharing samples. Have such focus and motivation. And even somebody just enrolled under Kelly the other day. So congratulations, getting right after it.
And that's another person I love is Robin, who works with you. So
yeah,
I just so many. She's Canadian, guys.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We all know pretty well.
another great blessing that I came into it. So everybody, again, the links are below the description wherever you're seeing this or you're listening to this later on a podcast. There's a QR code. Right now it's hovering over. Jennifer said it's pretty simple. The links are right below. liveyounger.com/Buddha. You can see the testimonials, the videos, some of the patents, whatnot, right? And you have doctors' testimonials that are on there, videos, etc. Or you can go right to it, and I can give it to you for up to 30% off and 100% money back guarantee. You can't get any better than that, because especially with what's going on in Canada these days, you do not need to go to a hospital. Like Lee Dundas and I have said several times on shows, she's like, right here, Joan of Arc of our time, international human rights attorney Lee Dundas, saying, I would rather go to a veterinarian than any medical doctor unless I know that person for sure right now. I'm like, absolutely, go to a veterinary clinic if something happens, if you're in Canada at this moment in time, at this place in space. So that's why these have been great. Everybody saw what happened to me in Switzerland as well, with the rolled ankle, what I was able to achieve thanks to these patches. Incredible. Where do you think we're going to see LifeWave in a year from now, Jen? We're back doing this, next summer.
He's coming out with some more things. And so I'm eager to find out, whatever new things he's going to bring out. We're going to get that at the convention in October, in California. And a bunch of us are hoping for the Nirvana patch to come out. And as a therapist, I used to recommend it for my clients, and it helped. The Eon is the closest thing to it because it calms you down. Nirvana was amazing, and so the bean counters took it away. But half of them probably aren't even still working for LifeWave. So we've written letters, and David said he's going to bring it back. So we'll see, But there are some other new patches that are out too that David's going to bring out. I don't know if it's going to come in December or not, but he's very big on the drones too. He's got a plant in Denmark, and the King of Denmark has now officially welcomed David and in the drone. So I think he's going to show more about that too. I don't know.
And the free energy cell of the drone.
Oh, the free energy cell he's going to bring out.
The free energy cell. So here we are, right? Everyone, we've talked about it for almost 2 years now, that that free energy cell for your home, for your car, a conversion kit, all that's coming through us, through all of you, through the brand partners as well. And
I think that's the original that David created for the Navy SEALs. I think because he was asked first, before he was asked to do something with the energy, he was asked to do something if the power goes in a sub. And his uncle was a DOD inventor.
That's right.
David was he was like 30, and David went home, worked on it. He did a Tesla thing there because it's got to be with magnets and stuff. But he brought this device back that was about this small. You bring it, he brought it to the sub. You lose your power, here's power, and it brings the lights back on and everything. And so my guess is, I'm thinking that's what he's done. He's created something for all of our homes. When the power, we can use this, and we won't have to pay for power.
Amazing. In the meantime, X39 is the patch to rule them all. And that started a wellness revolution. So is 49. And one last little thing. This is from another wonderful client of ours. She just didn't want us to say her full name on it, so no problem. But this is her written testimony to us.
Wow.
I've never felt younger, looked younger, and been so active in my life. I am 57 and back in the dating world, and currently dating a 38-year-old man. Ha! Life is good. And she's only using the two, X39 and 49.
Yeah.
Right. Versing her aging and so much more. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Right? It's awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. And you want to just give us one more quick little prayer to close it off here, Jen? And we'll
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me today. It's been so much fun. We wondered because we thought we had another
Worked out
guest.
so well.
What am I going to say?
Mahalo to you too. Mahalo, we know to you, Jen. Yeah.
So, dear Lord, I thank you so much for all the people that are under Brad, because guys, you're all under me. I'm Grandma Jen and I'm above y'all. So you're my family. And I pray for everyone on our team, which means I'm praying for all of you every morning too. And I will continue to do that. And so I just want you to know that you are prayed over by someone who really wants all of you to live to 100 or beyond. And with the new technology, I think we're going to live a lot longer. So thank you, Lord, for everything from David and from all of us being here together. Amen.
Amazing. Amen.
I made that
up. Fantastic. Well, everybody, we'll see you next time. Jen, I'll see you in a few minutes on our other call.
Yeah, I got to get
our secret phone calls. Yeah, the team where we continue the prayer warrior status.
Thank you.
Awesome, everybody. Take care, everyone. God bless. Mahalo.
Okay. Mahalo.
Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our Bling Buddha firing red pills from his 9mm, let us know.